Hello, Fifi.
Hello.
Now, I always call you Fifi, but you've got about five different names. I know.
I'm
What,
known
what do
by
you
many
prefer?
names.
What do you actually prefer?
I don't mind. I'm known kind of within the movement generally as Fifi or Fee,
Yep.
because it just happened to be my Facebook name when this all blew up and it kind of stuck. My actual name is Sophia.
Sophia. Yep.
You
Yep.
take your pick. I'm used to all of them.
Well, I quite like Fee. I quite
Yeah,
like
a lot of
Fee.
people
I'm
do.
a man of few words. The fewer letters, the
It's
better. Fee's as
an
little as
easy
it
one,
gets.
isn't
So
it? Yeah.
yeah, that's good. Okay, so you and I can have a quick catch up because we've chatted. We chat fairly regularly via different channels. But we haven't. The last time we spoke, I think, was it a month or 6 weeks ago when we actually had a.
Yeah, must be. Must
You were on
be.
holiday at the time, so when was
Yeah,
that?
I was down in Cornwall, so that was September. That was actually the end of September, so
Yeah, I think
yeah, it's
so.
yes.
But anyway, no, that was a good live stream. I actually really enjoyed that one for you. I really
Okay.
I liked what we spoke about, and I liked the way we spoke about things and what we were trying to achieve there. And I suppose since then we've been chatting about various other things and giving each other support in our two groups. Obviously, you've got the stand in the park there, and we've got awakened pages, and we're trying to build this awakened economy. And you've got this instant network of people who are all talking face to face, and it's really really important. How are you going to? I mean, that's the 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 viewers are joining now, so a few more will be joining as we go, and people can watch this live or they can watch the recording after the live stream finishes anytime, and that they can catch up on what we said if they're not able to do it live. Pete, tell me this: how does Stand in the Park go over winter? How does it work?
Well, we've not done it through the winter yet. This will be our first winter. So we
So when did it
started
actually start again? Stand in the Park.
in
What was the actual?
February. So the first official stand was February the 21st.
Yeah, yeah,
So it was cold actually. It wasn't,
yeah.
it was kind of, we were battling the elements a bit and it didn't seem to put anybody off. So I remember I had my wellies on, we had brollies, had the scarves, and so pretty much the same, you know.
It's the same with duffel coats. Yeah, they're prepared. They're hardy.
Sometimes
They're hardy.
that's it. They're a hardy bunch. We always said like rain, hail, or shine that
Yeah.
we stand. So we just keep going, really. I mean, some people, the well-established stands, they might, they're often little cafes or areas within the parks where there's a bit more shelter. And I mean, it's an hour to make the stand, the actual physical stand, like we're here, is 1 hour once a week. So it's not, like you have to be out there for hours at a time. You can make your stand for that 1 hour, that intentional stand, and then go off for coffee or get in somewhere warm. But we'll see how it goes. They've managed it in Australia and all the other countries where they do have cold winters as well.
Yeah, they
Like
do. I mean, I've had some of my coldest ever times over in Australia. It's funny. It's
I was
because
there and it
the
was freezing.
it can be freezing. Yeah, it's the temperature swing though. It's the
Yeah.
swing.
Mm.
Yeah, I used to go out with a lot of Aussies at night, and they'd have the fleeces and the jumpers with them during the day, and I'm like, why are you taking that? And I'm the fool in a
And then
t-shirt
you
later on, chittering, So,
yeah.
um, yeah. So okay, so we continue to stand in the park, then just fight on through. Somebody had said something to me, and it wasn't. I don't know. Was it stand in the bars or stand in the
Oh,
cafes or something? Did you hear about that?
I did. I mean, I'm absolutely all for people coming together wherever, at any time. But obviously, it's not. I think some people have kind of maybe lost touch with what a stand is
Yep.
because we're not under the same restrictions as we were before. Um, you know, it's maybe a bit more of a social thing and a bit more of a an organising thing. We're not actually having to stand and say we're not moving in that same way, although I do fear we will be going back that way. So I think, you know, calling something a stand in the pub or a stand in the, you're not actually making a stand in that sense. I think it's easy to take something's name that's really successful and turn it. I mean, I'm absolutely all for people,
do you know what?
having a Waitrose meal or, you know, whatever, but we need people to be in the park still, because again, it's an emergency meeting point. You need to keep them going. It's a public space. There's a very good reason for meeting in the park. Pubs can be closed down again, unfortunately. You can have landlords that, you know, will not be wanting to actually host large groups of people like us. So I mean, I think it's wonderful while you're able to do it, but people really, you have to maintain the stands, you know. And we've got new people showing up at my stand every week. If that's suddenly transplanted somewhere else,
not there. Yeah,
on the website.
well, that's it. You've got people out walking, jogging, walking their dogs. You know, they're playing with the kids at parks. They'll go hail, rain, sleet, or snow as well. Yeah, I think that is quite important. But as you say, anywhere where people are getting together and they're taking that stand in the park attitude with them, maybe do your stand for a bit and then go to the pub. You know, you're not going to go to the pub at 11 o'clock in the morning. You know, so yeah. And we must be. I mean, it must be giving out huge amounts of support to these local businesses. I mean, we've got our one in Perth. It's a cracking place for standing in the park. There's a swing park there, plenty of benches, picnic tables, and there's a cracking wee cafe there. But the cafe owner recently, who owns some nightclubs, put in like a fake sort of airport COVID passport check to more or less say we're going to be checking for COVID passports, but he turned it into a bit of fun, and we just don't find it funny. So we knew they were kind of not with us anyway, but the call went out to say absolute boycott. You know, don't buy anything, and it's a shame because they do nice coffees and stuff, and we've stuck to it. You know, and I suppose you have to do that, but there must be lots of good places that are getting lots of business. If you imagine, I mean, what we're looking at now, Fee, we're talking 50,000 people going out to parks on a Sunday, something like that, would it be?
Yeah, I would imagine. Like I say, it's so hard to gauge, but when you've got stands that are 100 plus people, and we've got over 700 of them. I mean, I know that's a large number. Most of them are smaller than that, but still.
So say there's 750. Yeah. Yeah, that's it, because some of them are really big. So, yeah, I think it's 40 odd thousand, something like that. Was that the war cry? Something, or was it 45 or 50?
Well, the Facebook group, before it was taken down, the original Facebook group, we had 45,000 members, and it was climbing still. And then, of course, that was the plug was pulled there, and we're trying to, you know, get established again, but it's harder and harder.
Yeah. So where are the meeting points for people to find, again, just for anybody who's not in a stand in the park? The best place to go, Fee, is a standinthepark.org.
That's it. So you'll see.
Yeah. Let me just pull that up just now. Actually, let's just get that just to show people the process, because I want to make sure that everybody really is in a stand in the park. So let me just put this on screen. Just give me two seconds, and you will see that in a little second. Okay. So from here, Fee, we go to our stands.
And then you've got the drop down menu.
And if you're lucky enough to be able to visit any of these other countries and get through all the red tape, then you can go and visit. I'd love to go to one in South Australia. My young son is 22 and he's in South Australia. I was on the Skype with the FaceTime with him this morning, and he said, "Do you know?" He said something tragic to me the other day. He says, "Dad, am I ever going to see you again?" And he's 22. I said to him right at the start that, you know, we were going to have a tough time seeing each other. I'm telling you, I will learn how to fly planes for you if I have to get back into
Yeah,
Australia again. You know, nothing is going to stop me. But right now, my thought is on what we're doing here, making sure he remains intact over there, which he's holding the line and he's the only one in his work, which is good. Um, but to say I'm concerned about him, I did say to him at one point when the stuff in Australia was going really badly, I said to him, get on a plane if you can. I actually said to him, I said, tell them I'm dying and come
yeah,
here. I
yeah.
said, because I said, I want you to fight it here with me. I said, don't. I said, you are in a terrible, terrible place. And somebody's just said that as well, just to put that up on screen. And this is the torture that these people would do. You know, there's somebody's daughter in Sydney. Same thing to me. Am I ever going to see you again? Imagine your family saying that. Imagine thinking that for real. You know, imagine we live in a world where phrases like "no job, no job" exist. I seriously never thought I'd see the day,
Oh,
Fee. But
no.
never mind. We'll come back to that in a second because that's part of what we're talking about. But anyway, so you go to the stands, United
Yeah,
Kingdom. Where are you going? So England, East
different,
England, and it's
yeah.
all
We'll break
broken
it
down.
down to, yeah, into regions, and then yeah, you'll find in alphabetical order the counties, and you can just
Yep.
yeah have a look.
I mean, look at
It's
that. I mean, that's amazing, isn't it? Look at the amount of people that you can meet. You could even, I mean, we've started doing some things with, the other standing parts, the Creef and things like that. We had a great day with the guys from Creef came down to see us as well. Really, really good.
yeah,
And
lots of stands from all different places within the in counties, coming together and doing things. But the foundation is those individual stands, to like maintain them, keep them going, because what I keep saying is stressing is that you need to be making those connections now. Like, don't, if we do end up in some terrible emergency situation, you need to have made those connections already. Then your very first stand is desperately scrabbling around to find people you haven't actually made any connection with yet.
yeah,
We're building community already.
yeah, absolutely.
And that's why it's so important to, even when the weather is crappy, don't abandon. Obviously, there are going to be some people where they might be elderly, and there are reasons for them not to be out in the cold. Totally understandable. But to keep, for the rest of us to keep it going, maintain it, because those new people are coming, and to keep strengthening those connections, rather than it's we just won't bother this week, and then you've got new people showing up and there's nobody there. Like, the strongest stands are the ones that they've got us hardy members that are willing to suffer through, and it's always great once you do it anyway. You've got a thermos, you can keep warm, and there's
Well,
this
that's
feeling
right.
of
Yeah,
solidarity.
that's right. There's all little things you can do with your, yeah, absolutely. A wee snowball fight, shoving snow down each other's backs. What a great way to get to know somebody.
Right.
So the Billy Connolly. I think he coined the phrase. There's no such thing as bad weather, just the wrong clothing. You know, and I used to, you know, I've played tennis in the rain. I've played tennis in the snow. Had to, carve out the lines and all that. And we had a great game of tennis. We were actually playing on snow. There was no court there. It was just packed snow. And some of the best golf days I've had has been chucking it down with rain.
Yeah,
You
it's
know.
character building, that kind
Yeah,
of thing.
absolutely. So okay, so let we're not going to let the weather stop us, Fee. We're going to get out there now. I want to say to all members of our group, and I'm going to keep banging this drum monthly, weekly to say I think yours is the best networking opportunity for face to face in the UK right now. I think it's the most important one personally. Um, there's other ideas. You've spoke to Yogi from Freedom Tribe. Don't know if you spoke to Yogi. I'll
Mm,
introduce you to
so,
him.
so many people. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
he's a good guy. He's putting together a wee app thing that tries to connect people and and he's done a good job on that, and there's something in that as well. But you've got these networks there now. If there's a million of us, why is there not 500,000 going to stand in the park, or 100,000 or 200? You know, it'd be amazing though, because think about it. Isn't that showing the public that, you know, sometimes it's hard. You feel that we're in the minority, but at a stand in the park, we're actually the majority. Because everybody else is in wee blocks of 4 or 5 or 2, and we're standing there with 20 people.
Yeah.
You know, if that 20 was 40 or 60, we look quite, you know, we're the most popular crowd.
Yeah, we are.
You know, and people think, what's going on over there? And you know, we're a friendly enough bunch, Fee, that they can come over and chat. They can say hello, and you know, we're all salesmen, and we're all wanting to get a chance to do our pitch to a newbie and tell them what we think. And we've all got our wee set ways of getting. What's your sort of set piece for you? I'd imagine you've approached lots of people who are kind of. Do you have any certain ways of starting off your conversations?
I'm always very warm and friendly, just generally. So whatever the approach, it's kind of an individual thing. It depends on if they're coming over to us, which is often the case. If we're at a stand as somebody passes by and asks, oh, what's this about? There's already a bit of an openness already, and it's quite easy to engage. So really, it's just, you know, we're here standing for freedom. We're very concerned about the way things are heading. And that usually just gets the ball rolling, and you can kind of gauge where somebody's at. You know, most people will agree that, yeah, the way things are at the moment, it's scary, you know, for whatever reason, whether they're scared of a so-called virus, or, you know, just the impact it's had on people's lives. So I don't really have a set way of engaging with people. I kind of read each one. Obviously, if someone's being really aggressive, and that's a kind of a different approach. You always kind of diffuse that and not get drawn into any kind of arguments, or because that's obviously not going to help anything.
Yeah. But one of the words you said there, choice of words, is really important, actually, and I'm glad you. It's a nice word that you used there, concerned. It's a simple word. It's not conspiratorial, and interestingly, it ties in with some thoughts I've been having on some things. This is one of the, you know, the guys who do the Rebels on Roundabouts. I think you're quite,
I met them.
you know,
I've
those
met
guys.
Steve and Steve recently. Brilliant. They're lovely people. Really.
Yeah. Yeah, they're good, and you get the Hold the Line guy. And I saw you did an interview with him the night as well. That was a good one. That was a really good one. I need to meet him, actually. I think you sent him a message, didn't you?
Yeah, we'll introduce. Oh no, that's so there's Jason from Hold the Line, sorry. And then there's the journalist group, which is Holding the Line, Journalists Against COVID Censorship. And I well, both of those have
Yes, okay.
too, so
Okay, we'll have a wee look at this one. This is interesting, because I've seen this on a few videos, and this was the one that got me the most. I really liked it, actually.
yes.
Why is that not working? Yeah, there it is.
Honk
if you're concerned.
Yeah.
Now, it's so. I mean, and see the amount of people who, I don't like the word honk enough, but but we would say pump your horn, I suppose. But we would say, but honk if you're concerned, and they honk on the way by. They all do it. So it's an easy one, isn't it? It's an easy in. You know, surely you must be concerned about this.
That's
you know,
that is that kind of entry level where you can start to have a conversation, because you're not straight in there with, you know, what people can easily term conspiratorial.
That's it, isn't it? You're sort of, I thought about this the other day, Fee, and I've set up a new thing, which I wanted to speak to you about tonight. It's called Speak UK. Okay, now it's a new Facebook group, and it's for people who are just concerned. They're not where we are just now. They're probably miles away from where we are just now, but they're certainly concerned. They're worried about their job. They're worried about their kids. They're worried about this government's reaction and response. They're worried about their future. They're worried about their business, and they're worried about whether this government is taking us in the right direction. And they might actually be worried about whether a lot of the things that they've heard us saying are actually correct. Okay. Now, what I've done is I've created this group called Out UK. I've got 3 doctors so far, a scientist, a statistician, a social media influencer, businessman, an author, a psychologist, really, really good authoritative figures who are going to talk to. So what we're really saying is send us your normies, send us your family who are just asking some questions now, because most groups are not right for these people to start their journey. I'd say Stad Park's a very good place to start their journey if they want to go out on a Sunday afternoon. But I'm talking about if we want to get them on a Friday night and they're in that inquisitive frame of mind, and you can say to them, look, let me not talk to you anymore about this. Why don't you go and join this group? It's for who are asking some questions, and they go in and we talk to them, and we do live streams into that group, and we post in a particular way. Nothing will be blocked by Facebook because we're going to be very careful about what we do and how we write. We're going to use facts. We're going to use their facts against them, and we're going to present the counter narrative to what's going on here in a way that people can actually waken up to this a wee bit more sensibly. And again, it's like a halfway house. It's like Stand in the Park. You know, we spoke about this before. You know, a lot of people at the hardcore militant end of protesting think Stand in the Park isn't a lot, but it actually is the opposite of that. And you know, it's not all storming the castles every day of the week. We need to get these networks. Nobody's going to join us if they think we're going to storm the castles anyway. You know, they don't want to do that. No. They'd rather talk about it. And this catchphrase of this Speak Out. So Speak Out UK, it's about helping them find their voice. You know, the catchphrase of it is it's good to talk. You know, like the old Bob Hoskins British Telecom advert. You're younger than me, so you won't remember that. But it used to have this advert on the do you remember it? Yeah, Bob Hoskins is good to talk, you know, and it is bloody good to talk. We really need to talk, and that's what's been missing. So what we're trying to do is to say, think about this, Pete. You know, did we make mistakes? If you look back at our movement, right? Let's look at where we're at. Where are we at with our families and friends? You know, did we convince many of them? Probably not that many. We probably didn't get, you know, they took their position fairly early. We took our position fairly early. And if anything, the positions got more entrenched as we moved forward. We didn't win hearts and minds over, really. We've won some. You know, some of them come out naturally. Most of our family and friends. And if anything, there's been a lot of fractures in families, splits, divides, people falling out, people not talking, people, you know, friendships being lost for life. Do we want the next wave of people to learn something from what we learned? Because I think there was a better way to do what we tried to do. They were confrontational with us, which made us confrontational with them, and we just went at loggerheads. We banged heads together, you know. That was never going to work. And you can't shout at somebody, take your mask off, you idiot, or you're a sheep, or, you know, you've been... If they've already taken double holy water, that's for them. How bad do you want them to feel? Do you know what I mean? Like, they're sort of living in a bit of denial, and we want to sink the boot in and say it's your fault, and it's your fault we've got COVID passports, and it's your fault this, and you know, we actually need this group in the middle who are asking questions to join with us in some shape or form, but they're not going to come. They're not going to phone you up and say, "Oh, by the way, you were right all along." No one's going to get that phone call.
No.
You know,
you have to meet people where they're at. that's the thing. Is just meeting where they're at. And I do think people are realizing that there is that, you know, especially now more and more people are asking questions, but there's a certain way of approaching them. And yeah, it's not, we don't want to be scaring people off, which is we still got that potential to send them screaming straight back into where they've just come from, because it's too much.
100%. Too much too soon. Too much too soon.
And I think a lot of people have realised that, and a lot of us, you know, within the movement are looking at ways to broach, you know, those people that are kind of coming out, peering around and saying, wow, things aren't maybe what I thought they were. But it's a learning experience, isn't it? I think because it was kind of just thrust upon us, everyone's in that reactive mood, and just the sense of urgency, and you know that there's people lose that kind of measured approach. But I do think it's coming into things now, and we will see more of it, rather than that kind of black and white. You know, people were very much saying, well, if they don't know now, it's never going to happen. Well, actually, it is happening. It's just some people, it does have to be really quite extreme before they start.
That's right. They have to be right up to the precipice.
Yeah.
Do you know what they need? They actually need first-hand evidence. They need to see, wait a minute, I've just been discriminated against. I can no longer go to that football match with my son anymore unless I take a medical procedure. These guys were talking about this last year. I've just been on holiday there, and I had to go to a hotel quarantine, and I did not enjoy it. And I'm just a normal guy, and I'm telling you right now, I don't want to ever experience the treatment I got there. Or I forgot my mask one day and I look like a leper, you know, or I just don't like wearing a mask, or I don't like reading about 5-year-old kids being targeted next, you know, or something is happening. I had an example for you, and this is probably the worst example in the world, but I'm going to use it anyway. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of tequila. I had a bad experience with tequila once. I was in Tenerife, drinking with some Scouse guys, and I think we were doing tequila slammers. It was right. It's nothing to do. Sorry, we're just chatting here for the audience. Tequila slammers, and it had warm lemonade. Everything about it was not good, and I was really I didn't like it. Right now, give me tequila now, and I was never good with the taste or smell of it. So the example I give is, give me one tequila shot, and I can stomach it. Right, I'm not happy. It's no pleasurable thing, but I'll join you.
Handle it, yeah.
Give me the second shot. Double shot me. Right. I'm getting a bit uncomfortable now, because the first one, I know I didn't have a good experience with the first one. I'm not having a good experience with the second one. But you try and give me that third one, I'm telling you right now, my body rejects that third tequila shot. And I'm telling you, some of these people are going to say no, because their body's just saying, I'm not going through that again.
It's happening.
And that's happening. So where do those people go? Now, I thought of this idea of Speak Out UK. We've got and what we've got is lots of awakened people there. And I've said to them all, you're not here to share your videos. Only admin can post in that group. So only admin can post, because it's doctors and scientists and psychologists, and we'll control, same as BBC News controls the message they get on that screen. We'll control the message they get on this screen, to give our arguments a fair chance, Fee. You know, with what will look like, we'll put shirts and ties on as well. I'll sit with a shirt and tie on when I'm talking to these people in a live stream. No problem at all. Okay. Because I want to be the same guy they trusted to get us into this mess. I want to be the same guy when they're looking for answers. They say, no, I trust him now. I'm looking at the news slightly different. I trust that guy now. You know, so there's a way to, we're going to have to deal with these people and help them come to. We can't turn their back on them. We can't say, I told you so. How's that going to work? You know, are we going to end up with a third group of people? They don't want to talk to us because we are the basket cases. They don't feel they're complying anymore, and they're stuck in the middle with nobody. Yeah. We want those people on our side. So we have to warm them up and bring them in and acclimatize them to our way of thinking, and then they'll get to where we're at fairly quickly. Once the light bulb goes on and it all starts to, all the wee wires, dots start connecting, doesn't take long, for them to connect the dots and be exactly where we are. And they're seeing it. They're seeing the falseness in the news. They look at the news reader and say, I'm not buying what you're telling me anymore.
It only takes just starting to question. It tends to snowball. If the willingness is there, then, and the interest is there, then you do start researching yourself. There's a motivation to look into things. It's just that asking questions, and that's what we're seeing. It might be on a really kind of low level, something completely obvious to the likes of us who have always been completely cynical about governments and things, but for some people, this is the starting point. And like I said, we need to meet people where they're at and be very gentle and not coercive either, but just always encouraging people to look into this yourself. And when we have got these really respectable, respected, authoritative figures within science, the medical professions, psychology, all of these areas, then they're not listening to just us lay people as much as we might know a great deal. They've got those sources, and they're going to feel more confident that, oh, Dr. So-and-so has, or Professor so-and-so has said this, but obviously they've not heard it in the mainstream, but they're getting access. So I do think it's really important what you're doing to have that kind of entry level, and to kind of take people by the hand in a way, and make them feel welcome.
Well, that's right. So what we've basically done is we've got like a welcoming committee, and it's basically, I've said to them, it's people who are at our stage, awakened, if you want to call it that. And we've said, look, you're the welcoming committee. Your job's not to, be in there in the comments section posting your Bill Gates video or something you just half watch. People watch the start of a video, a 1 hour video, and post it on YouTube and think, this looks good, I'll post it. And they don't know what's happening in the middle or the end. It could be basket case material. So what I'm saying to them is, you're not posting links to anything. Just talk to them. When they say, I stopped wearing my mask today, give them 300 likes.
Yeah.
Give that guy, and that's what the welcoming committee are there. We're there to support these people, and we know what they're going through. Be there for them. Talk to them. Say to them, look, if you want, PM me, or I'm in the area. Come and have a coffee. Be their friend, be their ally, be there for them. They're going to go through a hell of a time, Fee.
Yeah, I know.
It's going to be horrific for a lot of them.
The idea of, we were kind of prepared in a sense for this. I mean, as much as that's possible, it's still, it completely took me by surprise. Even though we've been talking for years and years about it's coming. When it actually happened, we were all kind of sideswiped. But I can't imagine literally just waking up to this stuff now in the midst of it. It's, we do have to show compassion. We do have to be understanding and accepting of where people are at.
Yeah, absolutely.
It can be frustrating because we can see it all. We can see what's unraveling. We've known this, and it's never going to be quick enough for us. But we do have to accept that's the situation. And so, what's the best way of leading? We lead by example, I guess, really. And in the end, this is a fight for humanity, and these are our brothers and sisters. And
we need them.
Yeah,
you can look at it any way you want. Look at it compassionately. Look at it selfishly. Selfishly, we need them. Compassionately, we should. They deserve. They deserve to be shown compassion, because they've been completely hypnotized and hoodwinked and forced and coerced and bullied, to be where they're at, and I used to think everything in the BBC was believable because it was the BBC years ago. I asked myself some serious questions in 2008 when that credit crunch came. serious questions, Fee. I mean, I took 2 years out and went down rabbit holes, and I thought, you know nothing, mate. I really challenged myself, and that's when I started looking at this stuff for the first time in 2008. And I literally knew nothing about this world, and I thought I was so smart, and that's a shock. That's an absolute shock to the system when you, and I think I was, what age am I now? 55. So what age would have been then? 2008, 13 years ago, 42. I thought I knew everything. Honestly, I had a big business, thought I was so smart, thought I had it all worked out. The economy, yeah, I knew everything. I knew nothing. See, when your rug gets pulled like that, it's really, really tough. I went into a place, I was very fortunate that I'd sold the business at the time and I had money to take 2 years out. Very, very fortunate. If I had to just keep on going with that in my mind and try to do the study and learning that you did, you'd just be spending so much time down rabbit holes and working, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was just, so it's almost like what we've learned has to be passed on and used. I don't want this next wave of people. You know what it's like? You wake up one day and you think, God, it's right. Do you want them turning into the next person who gets thrown out the gang, or the mother and the father and the family all reject that? I don't want them to be rejected the way some of our people might have been rejected or fallen out with their friends. What's the point in that? And that's back to this idea of Speak Out UK or Stand in the Park. It's just stand up for yourself. Speak up, say no, say, I don't agree with that. No, I don't think we should be having COVID passports, but I don't want to fall out with you guys about it round the kitchen table. You know, or, and this is another thing, Fee, they don't even want the subject being put on the kitchen table. Oh, let's not talk about that. Let's not ruin the atmosphere. Let's not go there. No, I want to go there, but I want to talk civilly. I've got a young nephew, smart young guy. I say smart. He's done the double holy water, but he's smart, you know. And I talk to him. He's probably one of the most open people on the other side of this fence that I talk to. And if everybody would approach it the way he does, we could have some civilized conversations. But then of the other people where it's the opposite of that, and it's all loggerheads, fast, and he's the exception. So how do we turn more people into that type of guy, somebody that you can have an open conversation with? Now, tonight is about strategies and solutions. We're going to ask the audience Fee if they've got some ideas. So have a think about that, guys, as we're chatting here. Put forward your ideas and we'll poke and prod some of these things. One of the things, Fee, I thought about, just because I'm a salesman, I'm a financial advisor. I've not sold mortgages out for years, but I'm a financial advisor. I'm a salesman. I train people to sell. Okay. One of the things I thought about was doing a sort of form of online webinar type debating classes where we basically say, right, here's the, okay, who wants to learn how to craft a better argument? Who wants to learn how to have a better comeback line, that or a better opening line, or five? Who wants to have 5 opening lines, and you say this and they're going to say this or that, and then you say this or that, and get them thinking and attuned to a way of thinking. Their mind again will connect the dots and they'll start to say, yeah, I've been approaching it the wrong way. And you know, it's like somebody saying to us, you're not one of those anti-vaxxers, are you, because you say anything? You know, it's the ultimate insult now, isn't it? Or you don't like mass, or you don't like the government. You're not one of those anti-vaxxers, are you?
It's a shutdown. That's
shut down. But some of our stuff's just as bad. You know, some of it. So as a sales pitch, you know, the objective being, the sale is, can we have a civilized discussion about this stuff? That's the goal, isn't it? That's what we want to achieve. So if that's the goal, what is the ways to go about it? And are our people trained enough to go about it properly? Do we have?
I've been working on this over the weekend with
Good.
people. So I've got some people to put you in contact with. Definitely, who this is their thing.
Yeah.
This is what they're actually doing. And I cannot remember off the top of my head what the website is now, but I will give you that information. But that's what it's all about: is how do we engage in civil conversation, especially, you know, somebody is being really quite hostile. How do you avoid from, you know, launching off from that place of reactiveness, as opposed to just stopping and actually trying to listen, hear what they're saying to you? If you can, you know, get past your own triggers, as we're all triggered if somebody's coming at us with an opposing view, especially if they're being quite, you know, aggressive with it, it can diffuse. And there were so many examples of the, you know, these techniques really, which are quite simple to learn. It's just being in that place of calmness. It takes practice, but how you can end up having an actual conversation. You might not end up agreeing on things, but it's you know, people go away, think, yeah, it's a completely different, and you don't know what actually, when they go away thinking, oh, actually, yeah, that was okay, that person wasn't a crazy anti-vaxxer.
Well, that's it. That's the thing, isn't it? Enjoy the challenge of making it a better outcome.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy the game. It's like the thrill of the chase. It's like you're trying to play with words, play with minds, whatever way you look at it. You know, win hearts and minds. I mean, you're not one of those anti-vax. You say, no, I'm definitely not anti-vax. I'm pro-choice. You know, most people, I've been vaccinated before, but I'm absolutely pro-choice. As this person said, this is still an experiment. I'd rather take a wait and see. You know, and then you're into placebos and experiments, and how when you're doing experiments, you wouldn't inject 100% of a nation. So you wouldn't, because you don't know what the outcomes. But does it make sense to inject absolutely everybody in this country in case something goes wrong? And in any experiment, they might have 50% placebo, you know, and they know who that is. So I'm in the placebo group, you know. So there's other ways to present this information and get these conversations going.
Yeah, and I think with regards to the jab, we don't even really have to go down the route of you know, whether the vax is dangerous and all that. Obviously it is, and that might be a bit further down the line, but really what we're looking at is that two-tier society. So many people who have had the jab are completely dead set against this idea of passports and having to present papers. You know, it's all very reminiscent of other regimes that have gone before. And I think even just starting off at that point, where, you know, absolutely pro-choice, what's happening to bodily autonomy, where you can be literally cut off from services and you know, access to whatever. It's against human rights. So even without having to go down the route of why it's, you know, it's so dangerous, just looking at the societal issues with it is quite a good place to start, because it's you know, that it's kind of undeniable unless you've got someone who's absolutely
that's right. I'm quite sure, Fee, that there are people in our groups who've gone straight to. Oh, so you've had the double jab, so you'll be dead in 2 years then. I'm quite sure that there's. I'm quite sure that there's people who've had those conversations. Now that's, you might as well just punch them in the face if that's your attitude, because that's going nowhere. You're just angry, aggressive, hostile. Nobody wants to hear that. And if that's the case, that's the last way to win hearts and minds, to say that. And again, I put this up. This is a comment from somebody to say we should be proud of being anti-vax. All vaccines are poison. Why would you choose to take one when you know good? Now again, I don't know how that. Again, it says Facebook user, so I'm sorry if that's my brother or sister talking there or whatever. I don't see who the name is, so I don't know who I'm talking about. So Yeah, I get that. I've got 2 kids. They're not vaccinated from birth. 2 organic little kids. I wouldn't take. You put £1 million in 2 briefcases. The answer's no. Somebody says to me, £1 million in briefcase 1, briefcase 2. My answer is 100%. I swear to God, the answer is no. I'm not taking it. So, am I anti-vax? Probably, if that's the way you, if that's what you want to call anti-vax, because I wouldn't take it myself, no matter what. I wouldn't take it to go and see my son in Australia, no matter what. I don't want him to take it. I said to my son last year, I said, there's a good chance I might not see you again. I says, because they want us both to be vaccinated and I'm not doing it and I don't want you to do it. And if that's the case, we'll just do it by internet, you know. So at the end of the day, I've taken a particular stance on it, but I know what stance buys me better negotiation.
Exactly. It's been
And
used
yeah,
as a term to completely demolish. You know, you are just lumped in. I mean, but of course, there are so many people within the stands, within the movement, who are completely anti-vax because they've done the research and they've seen what goes into these things. You know, they know the whole thing, but actually saying it, putting it out there, and being really vocal, they use it to destroy us, to completely remove any kind of credibility. And also, it is important to approach things on an energetic level from a pro perspective, because when you're hammering all the time from that negative anti, and I'm not talking about let's pretend that it's not, you know, there's not this terrible thing happening, but what do we want? We're creating our reality. What do we want? We want free. This is what draws people to us. We want the choice. We want bodily autonomy. We want medical freedom. We want to be able to live our lives. We want to. That's far more inviting. It still encompasses, you can be anti-vax all you like, wonderful. But if you're going along with that, that's what draws people to us more than just, if you just say you're anti-vax, it's like the full stops there. It's kind of like the conversation's finished.
Yeah,
but whereas
absolutely.
if you're approaching it from that other perspective, it's more open, and
That's
no
right. It's
one
got a
can
bit
really
more of an
argue.
angle there. Just one comment. I can see this comment. I know this person is electrified smart farts on YouTube. Are you interested in our opinions? Yes, if you want to put an opinion forward, that would be really good. But I don't think you've posted anything else, and you ask if we're interested in your opinion. So, yeah, let's see what you've got to say. It's funny, isn't it? You have to engage people by deflect. Okay, let's see what he's got to say here. You have to engage people by deflecting the truth away from yourself and onto this government information, MHRA. Yeah, that's a fair enough point. Yeah, so we've all got different views on how to do that. So again, we can see the comments, guys, and we'll put up the comments. So if you've got any good questions or ideas or whatever, Fee's quite stuck on time tonight, or tight on time tonight. Fee, what's your views? You're still doing protests and things like that, actual physical boots on the ground protests. So, I mean, we could chat for ages. This is Synergies, Strategies and Solutions, and we give ourselves an hour. You've got no chance this time to really, at a high level, we can talk about some ideas, but we'd love to talk about more. What's your views on the protest side? And we're moving into a sort of period where protesting's a bit of a summer sport in many ways, and it's not particularly pleasant. We're in for a dark winter. Should we be starting to wrap that side up? Do you see that continuing over November, December, January? What's the sort of plans?
I think it all depends on what the next move is by the government. I think we could well see huge numbers again if, we're looking at the possibility of a lockdown, or the rollout of the passports, or I think it's dependent on what's happening. I do think the protests are still important. I think people get a bit confused or unrealistic about what a protest achieves. you know, on its own, no protest, no matter how huge, is going to be the thing that ends this overnight. It really won't be. It wouldn't matter if we had 5 million on the streets. They will still have to keep rolling on, rolling on, rolling on. But we do have to look at the impact that they do have. People are, it's almost like a primal instinct to get on the streets and come together and show your dissent. And, you know, the government's very aware that, you know, we haven't had the passports rolled out here yet. And they're very aware that there can be 1 million people plus on the streets the very next day. You know, obviously in places like Australia, they don't have, you know, they're not densely populated like we are. They're able to do a lot more out there because people are very, you know, it's a much, much smaller population. People are dotted around. We can come together very quickly en masse, and we have demonstrated that. And so I do think, you know, they definitely have an impact. And it's I think people are they just want to show their resistance to things anyway. It just seems to be a natural human impulse. So I'll be doing it all the way through, you know, but also at the same time, we've got loads and loads of stuff going on within communities.
Yeah.
And obviously that's kind of where my heart is. That's what my focus is on.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff happening outside the schools, you know, and try to educate and, you know, serving teachers and serving local authorities and things like that, and police stations as well. There was just one thing I just wanted to put up here. A lot of the groups in Scotland have came together. We've got the COP26 coming to Glasgow. So we have the leaders, as they call them, of this world are coming here to decide our fate. Now, what you've got there is you've got little Greta Thunberg and co who are going to have the red carpet on the 6th of November. They're going to be taking over Glasgow, and they're going to have a massive rally, which is a climate change extinction rebellion, and they're going to be screaming for the global governments to listen to them and begging for them for us not to eat meat or drive cars or have holidays and basically to live a peasant lifestyle. And I think this is all staged, and I think they're going to, at the end of this, I've seen David Attenborough been rolled out, and he's on the news, and yeah, they're using him a lot. You know, he's getting rolled out that, you know, we don't have long, and the kind of sort of documentary style, you know, David Attenborough talking. They want to move incredibly fast, and I think what they're going to do with COP26 is they're going to say, okay, protesters, you win. We're going to do it fast. We're going to do it tomorrow. And we're going to see stuff coming in with the speed of these COVID changes, restrictions, climate change lockdowns. You know, can't drive your car out with your local authority area. You're in a tier 5, you can't drive to a tier 4. All of those types of things. I think we're going to see that. So a lot of the groups in Scotland have put together this, where on the 11th of November, which is Remembrance Day coincidentally, but it's the second last day, the penultimate day of COP26. All the climate change guys have left. They've fired their big bullets on the 6th with Greta and all the rest of it. And what we're saying is on the 11th, it's a Thursday, it's not your normal typical day, but it's COP26. How often does it happen? And what we're saying is it's an invitation to all concerned men and women in the UK, a freedom rally, not a protest, not a demonstration, a rally to rally and buoy our spirits and to get our people upbeat, motivated, uplifted, stand against these vaccine passports, stand against no jab, no job, stand up for your children, stand up for your freedom. Okay. Now, we're talking about doing a wee 2-minute silence just to tip our hat to the people who died for our freedoms on Remembrance Day, which is that's around the world. It would be remiss of us not to do that. But we had a local councillor, believe it or not, come out, and if he posted that flyer and he said, how low can they go I hope they're deeply ashamed to hijack Remembrance Day. Well, because we're saying stand up against vaccine passports and stand up against people losing their jobs because they don't want to take this experiment. And he's saying, how low can we go? Now, we're going to be looking for veterans to join us on that day, because they are concerned and fought for freedoms. And these people would turn in their graves if they thought we weren't out there defending these freedoms. And that, I'll send you that, and I think I've already sent you that one. But anybody that stand in the park, we'd love a cat.
I'll be there. I'll be there, definitely.
Yeah, good. Well, I'd say I would love a carload of people from every stand, and and if Greta Thunberg can do it, we can do it. You know, if they can roll through town, we can roll through town. You know, they don't want it. They want this COP26 narrative to be a slam dunk. See, if it was in London, they didn't pick London because they knew you guys would do 1 million man, 2 million man march through it. That's why they didn't pick London for this. They picked Glasgow because they didn't think you guys. They've tried to get it as far away from the rest of the UK as possible, and they've hoped that we weren't organised enough. And I think we need to put on a real good show that day. And I think it's a UK-wide event, and I think we should treat it the way we've treated some of those London marches, and that we should get together. Where there's a will, there's a way. Yes, it's a Thursday. Who cares? How often do we get this chance? And is this the most important COP ever? You know, these guys are coming together. This is the one that brings the iron curtain down on us. We are done after this if these guys get their way. You know, so we need to be extremely careful. I'd see if you could replicate in London. That's what we should be able to do, Fee. That's the challenge, isn't it? You know, and people are travelling everywhere to get to London. It's a hard city to get into when you've got all those people there, and you know, but they're getting through it. They're getting through the tube. We just need to drive and park in Glasgow. It's a small city to get around. It's not as much hassle, and people can drive home. You know, a lot of people in Middle England are 3 hours away from Glasgow.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're literally 3 hours away. They could be home by 8 o'clock. You know, so again, I'll send you some information on that because we're getting close to time. I wanted to bring that up into. I just wanted to say that, you know, again, honk if you're concerned. Turn up if you're concerned. You know, if you this is a call out to the concerned men and women of this country to say, if we're concerned and these people are in Glasgow, then is that not our call to be there, to bring our energies there? I know that their energy is going to be in Glasgow that day. I'm going to feel I'm feeling their energy coming here just now. You know, their bad energy. I want our good energy to be felt. I'd like lots of us to be there. If Greta and Co and all that Extinction Rebellion and the bought and paid for protesters, and yet you've got us. You know, retired people can be there because they're retired. They can drive up, visit. If you've got relatives in Scotland, come and see them. Turn it into a visit. Come and see Scotland. It's lovely. You know, make a trip of it. Whatever. Find a way to get here because I think we really need to. And I would love to see as many people as possible there. And do you know what, Fee? I'm not a massive protester guy. I did my first protest last year in September. And since then, I've kind of given up my job and just been on this full time because I can't think of anything more important than this. Not everything. There is no small chat with me just now. I'm completely all in on this. Everything I do on a daily basis is to do with this in some shape or form. And I don't necessarily think going out there and protesting every week is what I need to do because I've got things I need to do with kids and family and all the rest of it. But I think with the Awaken pages and, you know, the other groups that are run and this now Speak Out UK and these kind of interviews that, and occasionally sort of these types of protests that you're doing what you can to make a difference. And all we're really asking is every so often we say to people, look, you're in the groups, join us, get there, you know, swell our numbers. We're not going to, we're unarrestable because we're good people. They're not going to arrest us in Glasgow. We're not doing anything wrong. We've got a right to. And if you're going to arrest any of us, you better have arrested Greta as well. you know, if you're going to, she better get the same treatment as we get. Because if I get anything different, and I live here, if I get any different treatment from her, I will be up in arms and seriously upset. So I want the same treatment as them for us, and I think we need to get ourselves out there and get on with the business. And as I said, when do you get that opportunity? And we know what this narrative means. We know what they're going to do with it. So, and yet we called it a freedom rally because it's about freedom. It's on Remembrance Day, and it is there to rally. It's there to be an uplifting experience for everybody who attends. But anyway, so that's us sort of hit the time fee. You know, we've really, we probably need a bit more time to really do this justice. So we need to do it more often, and then maybe maybe we need to. Yeah, there's never enough time. But yeah, I know you've got a tight time scale tonight anyway. And
I'm
but
very
listen,
happy to do it again, though. You know, we could
yeah,
definitely make it more of a regular
yeah.
thing.
And if we're doing, I mean, the Speak Out UK idea, but we're not ready to. So just for anybody watching, don't invite your normal friends there just now. We're just getting the welcoming committee ready so that there's people there, and then we're going to start posting, and it's all going to be organised, and then we're going to say to pretty much all the groups in the UK, if you've got people who've got half a brain cell in their head and they're asking questions and they have some doubts, we will fan those doubts into that small ember of doubt. We will fan that into a flame. Leave them with us, and we'll take care of them. You know, it'll be controlled, and we'll learn quickly what works, what doesn't. So it's a control rather than everybody. What am I going to do to wake this guy up? And a million people are trying a million different strategies. We'll quickly work out what works, and we'll analyze it, and we'll say, right, when we post this, lots of people wake up by a certain amount, and it's just all about taking them through that acclimatization journey. So yeah, thanks so much. Did I put that up there? I didn't even know I clicked that there. Yeah, so somebody's saying it needs the same impetus as our first rally in Edinburgh. We did a really good one in Edinburgh. Actually, the one that we did in September the 5th in Edinburgh, that was my first ever protest ever, you know. And
that was a big one, wasn't it? The Edinburgh
it was a big one. Do you know what was funny? We were kind of on the run up to it because I was in the group organising the people to get there. So I was banging the drum every day. You go and bring a friend, go and bring, I was trying every technique, the Braveheart quotes and mother's guilt. I tried everything. I went for every trick in the book, and I'd say we had about 2,000 people. It was a beautiful day, and it was really, really great. Dolores Cahill was there with some great speakers. Beautiful sunny day, amazing turnout. Everybody had their signs. It was as good as you could get. But see, on the run up to it, I was quite worried because you guys in London had done yours with Vince Dunmo and all that, and that team down there. They'd done a great job. 2 minutes. I'll come and see you in 2 minutes. Okay. So they'd done a great job down at Trafalgar Square, and I was watching it and I'm thinking, oh my God, that is absolutely brilliant. Just for a slice of that, what would you give, right? And then Dublin was doing theirs, and Dublin had a great time, and they were marching through the streets and they had their flags and they were all singing. And I'm like, oh my God, Scotland, don't let us down, And I knew we had the numbers. And you're worried about the weather, you're worried about the numbers, you're worried about the police, and no arrests, and everything just went absolutely brilliantly. And you can manifest these outcomes. So again, you've got a right to protest. This is one of the other freedoms that you're going to lose. Imagine you were in a world where you couldn't actually protest at all. They can just do anything, and there's nothing you can do. I know.
We do have a big protest, by the way, in London this Saturday. Another medical freedom march in London.
Yeah. So what's that one? And we'll plug that one just now as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's out there all over.
Yeah.
Freedom group social media. So any stand in the park social media, you will already have seen the posters. But yeah, we're all uniting again to say enough is enough. And yeah, we want our medical freedom. We want our freedom, full stop. So it's
Yeah,
they're every
absolutely.
month, those ones.
We want our country back. I mean, this is. I mean, these guys are going to kick this can right down into 20. I mean, they're coming for Christmas again. Make absolutely no mistake about that. They are coming for Christmas.
They've already been.
Yeah, they've set the stage for that. You take two Christmases in a row with families not getting together. They're trying to bury Christmas this year. You know, and that's what I'm saying. You've got these events coming up. The last of the events. You know, your last tango in Paris or your last tango in Glasgow, whatever, or London, whatever way you want to look at it. But we need to get ourselves out there and we need to get ourselves heard. But listen, Fee, it's always really lovely to chat to you, and you're doing great work there. And as I said, we're going to get as many people as possible to join the Stand in the Parks. That's going to be one of my big monthly missions, is just to keep them coming in. And also for the people who join this Speak Out UK, I would be very, very comfortable there, saying, look, if you want, there's this is an organisation, this is a network of normal people that you can go and meet. And I think that a lot of these people are going to want that. You know, they're going to get
first contact.
It's a good first place to go. I think it's good and it's civilized, and because they can feel very alone. And as I said, as we build their arguments and build the ways that they can, get their points across better, this ability to speak out when they want to, and to try and get their points across, not have the debate stifled, not be shut down. These are problems, that the subject matter, the important subject matter, can't get put on the table. So yeah, Fee, listen, thank you very much. You enjoy your night. It has been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, and thank you. Sorry we couldn't answer all your questions tonight, everybody, but we do try, and hopefully we'll get another session in with Fee, and we'll do a part 2 to this, Fee, maybe, I think, and we'll buckle down. Okay, well, listen, thank you to everybody, and thank you to Fee. It's been an absolute pleasure. Okay.